Welcome to the Metal Queens podcast. This is the podcast where we spotlight the fiercest women in rock and metal. Today's guest leads one of the hardest working modern rock bands on the road right now, City of the Week. They formed in 2012 and have built a reputation for explosive live performances, sharp musicianship, and a fearless attitude that refuses to play by the rules. Their sound has been described as a combination of Paramore meets Limp Bizkit, blending big hooks, raw emotion, and heavy grooves, too. They've rocked some of the biggest festivals in the country, including Incarceration, Rocklahoma, Summerfest, Vans Warped Tour, South by Southwest, and Chicago Open Air. Their music also has landed across major networks like NBC, Fox Sports, ESPN, and the NFL Network, too. With over 5 million streams, a very fast growing fan base, too, and new music dropping regularly, like their latest single, I Swear I Never Think About You, and a badass cover of War Pigs, too. City of the Week are showing no signs of slowing down as they gear up for more releases this year and some touring at some point this year as well. Welcome to the lead vocalist from City of the Week, Stef. Welcome to the Metal Queens podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. So take me back to the beginning. How did you get this band started? And when was the moment when City of the Week went from just an idea to a real band?
Yeah, so 2012, I was going to McNally Smith. It was a music school back in Minneapolis, and I wanted to make things happen. So I just started jamming with different people from the school, and there was like this music conference down in Atlanta called Driven Music Conference, and I wanted to play Warped Tour so bad. Like it was my dream. And I remember going to Warped Tour and I met a band there. And they were like, yeah, like we go to the Driven conference and Kevin Lyman's there. And so I basically got my band together and we started touring to go to Atlanta to go play for Kevin Lyman and like these industry professionals. So it kind of went from nothing to something kind of quickly. Like we started touring before we even had music out, before we like even had a decent recording. So like it was really janky and all, but we did go to Driven. We did play for Kevin. We did end up not on the full Warped Tour, but we did play a little bit. Um, so yeah, it just kind of happened and obviously went through lots of lineup changes as any band does really early on when you're teenagers. And then we formed into what we are today, which is a pretty large evolution, but I feel like there's still some of those core elements of who we are have still remained from the beginning.
All right, you used the word tanky there. So every band has their first chaotic show. What do you remember about the first City of the Week gig?
The first one. I'm trying to think of the first gig. Our first one wasn't terrible. Like nothing went wrong. It was at Station 4. Station 4, it was this legendary metal venue in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lots of bands got their start there. In This Moment played there before they got big. And like Avenged Sevenfold, like huge acts came through there. And like before the rise of fame, it's a smaller venue. It's probably capped I don't know, like 400 or something.
Mm.
And but super grungy, super dingy. Like it was disgusting. It smelled awful, definitely mold everywhere. And sound guys were always grumpy and mean. We played with another local band, Harikiri. Our bass player at the time was singing for them. So yeah, I mean it was fine. It was good. We played with another local band like Blind Tiger or Paper Tiger, something Tiger. There's probably like 30 people there max, nothing crazy, but we did have a few really awful shows like in that grouping of like the first few months that we were a band. We had some really bad ones. Because we just played around Lower Town, St. Paul, where like, little venues where McNally kids would go and play. Yeah, we had some really bad ones. I remember one at Wild Times. I don't know if it's still there. It's this little bar with a little stage in the corner. Our guitar player, I don't know if he was like intoxicated or what, but his guitar was so out of tune, like ungodly out of tune. And then the bass player was like in a different tuning, and I'm singing in a different key. Like it was just It's so embarrassing. Like it was, oh, I mean, it was 2012 and I was a teenager, but I'm still embarrassed by it. If you were there that night, I'm sorry. We know it was bad.
So you're from Minnesota
I'm from Montana,
or
but our
Montana?
band is I know I grew up there, but when I was 17, I moved to Minnesota. So I say I'm from Minnesota because that's where like the band is from. That's where like I started my adult life, I guess.
The musical formative years, as they like to call it too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you first realize music and performing were something that you really had to pursue?
I've just always known. Like there wasn't a single moment. Like I even when I was 5, so when I was in kindergarten, I started out writing stories. Like I love to write. Like I would write books when I was 5 years old, which sounds really like too like girl, like no 5-year-olds writing books, but I actually was. Like I was my teacher at the time, Mrs. Lindquist, in kindergarten. She was actually really cool and let me sit out of assignments, and my assignments would be to write books and then like illustrate with it and like turn in these like fully done like obviously like they're small. It's not like I was writing Harry Potter at 5 years old, but you know, like my little 15 page books and fully illustrated with like certain concepts or whatever. And then as I got a little bit older, like maybe 7, 8, 9, I started hearing music on the radio. I heard the Beach Boys, Shania Twain, her Up album. And I didn't really have the patience to write a full book, you know, because obviously as you get older, your books start getting longer and longer. And I was like, man, this is a doozy. Like, it takes so long to write a book. So I was like, it kind of shortened to poetry. And then from poetry, it just kind of those turned into song lyrics, and I was putting music to it. I picked up piano and guitar, and then it was like, how do I turn these poems into songs? And it just kind of evolved from there. There was never like I just always knew, like even really little, you know, the dream turned from like, you know, author illustrator to poetry to music, like it all just kind of fell lumped into one, you know.
Was music big in the house? Parents, siblings?
Nope. Parents never listen to music. Well, I shouldn't say that. My mom would put on this like Neil Diamond record once in a blue moon if she was cleaning. Um, but that's it. Like I couldn't tell you my parents, but then like favorite bands or like anything like that. It was not a thing. Like my mom would drive in silence. Like we would drive on like trips and stuff, it'd be like nothing playing. Or like maybe like greatest hits of the 70s or something, like something generic, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm from a small town, so there was two radio stations. There's a country station and like an oldies station
yeah.
that I discovered like late night. They started playing like contemporary music like Kelly Clarkson and whatnot. So I would stay up really late with my little like radio thing and like would I had a little tape player, and I if a song came on that wasn't an oldie, I would like record it immediately, and then I got a cassette tape Walkman and would like listen to those songs, and that's how I like found music kind of. Which makes me sound really old, but I grew up in the 90s in Montana. So
Mm,
the 90s in Montana, like it's just like when you're from a small town, it's kind of behind the times. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's not you're like 5, 10 years behind everyone else. So it's not like I grew up in the 70s or 80s or anything. It's just being from a small town.
What was your first concert experience? Was it in
Um,
Minnesota?
no, I remember I was 14 or 15. I had an older boyfriend, which was really nifty because he could drive and before I could drive. So I remember we went to this town called Dickinson, North Dakota, I believe. Dickinson or Bismarck. And the guitar player, Brian Welch from Korn, this was like right when he had left Korn and he had his own like solo thing for a while. He wrote a book, and that's actually how I discovered him, which is really crazy. Saved me from myself. I got his book in Barnes and Nobles. Well, like or like middle school or something. And so he was playing, his solo project was playing with this band called Children 18-3. They're a Christian band. And the Classic Crime, also another Christian band. And because Christian rock was huge those times. So I remember he and I went to, yeah, we saw Brian's solo project and then those two. And then from there I went on and we saw Skillet in like Billings or something too.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I saw a few concerts. I mean, there's not many bands that come to Montana or like North Dakota, Eastern North Dakota, or Western North Dakota. So, we have to travel for them. So
All right, the name, City of the Week. Where did it come from?
it's actually in a much more real sense, it's actually a texting error. We were trying to decide name, and it was like day of the week or city of something. And then the drummer and I were texting back and forth, and like it auto corrected. And I was like, city of the week, that's it. Because we're like talking about meaning, like city, we wanted it to mean like we're a community, like all, we're weak when we're alone, but together we're strong. And then city of the week, I was like, oh my God, that's it. Like that literally encompasses everything. And it wasn't even intentional. So there you go.
Well, this band has built a reputation, as I said in the introduction, of one of the hardest working bands in America. What does that grind actually look like behind the scenes?
What is the grind? No sleep. Lots of coffee and tea, long nights in the studio. Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's like hitting every angle, like we're all DIY. Cody designs all the merch. We record all our stuff here at this is my home. We have a studio here. We film all the music videos. We spent all this weekend filming. We'll be in the studio tonight. We were in the studio 2 weeks ago, ripping out the vocals for the track that's coming out here in about 3, 4 weeks. I don't know. It's just kind of nonstop, like staying on your grind, getting your shit done. The unfortunate thing is I wish we could work at a faster pace. I mean, bands nowadays, some of them are whipping out singles every 3, 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And I love to get to that pace, but when you're all in one, and we are really big on making sure each single gets like a full moment, making sure it gets the art, making sure it gets the merch, that's just not possible. Especially at the quality that we want to maintain. Like, I don't want to cut corners of doing like something that's cheap or a quick music video that's not colored correctly. So it does take us a little longer, but I think that the quality speaks for itself, and I don't want to, you know, skimp on that.
And by the way, they have great merch, cityoftheweekofficial.com. Check out the shop on there and check out their very cool merch. Your recent singles, Steph, War Pigs, badass cover of that, and Moving Target, hit with a lot of energy and attitude. What stories or emotions were driving those songs?
The War Pig song or the new one?
Let's do the new one. Let's do Moving Target, then we'll talk about the brand new one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously moving target is fuck you track, It's like a, you can't catch me. I mean, there's obviously each song has a story behind it. Some of them I can and can't say. But that one, yeah, I mean, it's all about like I wanted other people to feel, empowered, and, if you work hard and you fuck the haters, fuck the
Mm.
people that are trying to hold you down. Like you can play with me all you want, but like I'm still gonna be me and I'm still gonna do my own thing. So like, that's kind of ultimately what moving target's about. Like, fuck with me. But you're not gonna win.
And you got a hell of a swing too with that bat
Thanks, man.
in the video. The cover of War Pigs. Why that song?
Because it's so relevant.
Mm.
I mean, it's such a political climate now, and I see all over social media people like keep politics out of music. Music is political, like whether we like it or not. Like it's such a big thing, and it affects everybody now. Like everything that's happening, everyone is affected. Like we're all so affected. So I just think it's really important to take a stand, and we have political music, our original music. Some of it's political, not all of it, obviously, but we have a lot of the stuff coming up is really political. So it fit right in there and said what I wanted to say. And it's really funny because people see me on social media like a young girl and they're like, oh, you don't even know what this song is about. I'm like, I know exactly what this song is about, and that's why I did it. Like it's just like really shows that people really do, undermine. I mean, that's why I'm doing the song. Y'all are still undermining me and undermining my intelligence and what I stand for. So, I'm still gonna say what I feel, and I think that song is so much more relevant now even than it was back then.
And the latest single, from City of the Week. I swear I never think about you. Why do I think that's an ode to an ex, perhaps?
It's actually not,
Hmm.
which is crazy. That one is more a metaphor about addiction and more about, I swear I never think about you all the time. About how like we have vices. Everyone's got vices, whether it's an ex. Like I've tons of people I'm sure will relate to this as like a relationship. Or I was thinking of it more of like drug addiction, of someone who's maybe gotten clean and but still thinks about that high and that hit. It's like everyone has those dark secrets and those regrets of their past, but still think back and think, man, like I miss that.
Yeah.
We all got a little bit of toxic in us.
What's your songwriting process like? Do you start with a riff, a melody, an emotion, or a message?
So both actually. I'm always kind of writing. I have like this big document on my computer where I'm just every time I'm in a situation or I have a horrible temper. And so anytime I start getting worked up, I just like write it all out. And I write and I write and I write until I'm calmed down and I'm like, okay, I'm good. So it's all really raw emotion that's getting thrown on the page, but I'm not organizing it and I'm not really thinking about it's more of like, this is the topic and this is why I'm mad and spilling it all. And then if I flip to being mad about something else or sad or whatever emotion I'm going through, I just start like, it's kind of, I'm like, say what it's about. And I just kind of like word vomit. And then Cody writes a lot of riffs on his own. And so then basically I'll go to him or I'll ask him, like, what riffs you have. I'll open up the Dropbox, listen to everything, and then kind of like I'll match, like, oh my God, this fits perfectly as I'm looking through all my word vomit. And then I'll start to piece together, like, oh, this is a song about, it's angry political one or whatever. I'm like, oh, I have this song with these words that totally match that. And it's kind of this mix and match where I'll then write like a chorus to that. And I'll tell him like, okay, I think this part is like kind of a chorus. Even if it doesn't completely match, like I'll sort of sing it for him and then he'll write to match that. I'll tweak. And it's kind of like this back and forth. And then we record until it actually lines up and is all good. And so, yeah.
You said you've been writing since you were 5 years old. So does the writing come pretty easy for you?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, sometimes songs can take a long time. Like it's just because it's sometimes things are easy doesn't mean they're always easy because sometimes you're trying to fit like a circle in a square shape and vice versa when it comes to like the raw emotion to match up with like the riffs to the song form to the, getting the right build up. Like there's so many elements to it that it's never, no one is ever going to say, oh, yeah, writing songs is easy all the time. It's really not. So some songs get whipped out really quickly and it's like on Pulling Teeth, I remember we wrote one song like the day before we went in the studio. Like we whipped out in like a day and it made the record, which is crazy. Like and it's it's a fast, hard-hitting song on the record. I was like, damn, I can't believe we almost didn't put this on. Others, I mean, White Fire Alarm, our biggest song, I mean, that took me like a year to write. It took me forever. We almost scrapped that one. I couldn't think of anything. And all it took was that one hook, the whoa, oh, oh, that popped in my head. And it was like, that's it. It's over. Here we
Mm.
go. So there's not a simple answer to that.
Have fans ever shared stories about how your music helped them through something difficult?
Oh my God, yes. I've heard in like really crazy impactful stories of like, regarding suicide. Parents have thanked me about things regarding their child and saving their child or changing their child's life. We've heard people dying from cancer or people who have passed on from cancer, their children giving us things how their parent has how we help their parents through their hard times. Like we've heard a lot of crazy like stories that I can't really fathom and that like I'm impactful in their life. Like that's really like crazy to me. So yeah, we've heard a lot and it never gets like I'll never not be like shocked about it. Like I just can't believe that I have that much of an impact on someone else. I'll never fully like wrap my head around that.
But it makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why I do it. Like that's the reason. I'm like, this is why this is why, you know. So I'm always very grateful when people share those stories because sometimes being in a band's hard, especially being on the road. And like we had lots of really crazy road stories, and like, you know, we got robbed. We had our van, you know, blown up and broken down so many times, and like it's really rough out there. And we've had lots of bad things happen. So it's like when people share those stories with me, it's like, okay, this is why, like, it kind of keeps me going of like, it's a great reminder of like why we're here.
Yeah, the van's breaking down. I'm hearing that a lot from some of the artists I've had on here recently on the Metal Queens podcast. It happens a lot, right?
Yep. Yeah, we had this one Van Diesel that was like, oh, every other day it would break down, and it was just it was a Mercedes. So Mercedes, no one knows how to work on a Mercedes. So you're just having all these random shops try and fix it and then fix it worse. So like they break it, so then you have to take it to another shop, and then they botch it, and you're just spending thousands of dollars each
Yeah.
time because it's the parts alone are thousands of dollars, and it's like we're, you know, what, 20 to 22 years old, and just like opening credit cards just to like be able to get parts or whatever. Like it's awful, but
Gets costly, yeah. Hey, if
yeah.
someone is discovering you in City of the Week, watching this and listening to this for the very first time, what song or two should they start with and why, do you think?
Moving Target is where
Mm,
they should start because I feel like it really captures who I am as a person and what I want to say. And I want other people to be empowered by that song as well. I want other people to really, I feel like a lot of there's self-confidence is like a really big issue these days. A lot of people, especially like teenagers and young adults, have a lot of like this uncertainty about things. And I want people to feel a little more confident in when they say things and do things that like, you, you know, you should be confident in yourself and like know that like you're cool and all of that. That's probably not, I probably didn't verbalize that very well, but um I like that one. I like the empowerment of that. Um I also, what else? Maybe STFAFM, which is obviously short for Stay the Fuck Away From Me. That's also the newest batch of songs. People really like that one. Like we do like little
yeah,
polls on our socials of like, hey, what songs are you guys digging? And Stay the Fuck Away From Me has been like the top
top
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very, it's so high energy. It's so, whenever I listen to it, I feel like I just did a couple lines, you know, I'm like, yeah, let's go. So that one's just a great one to get you revved up. And in true City of the Week fashion, I feel like that's just like us, you know? So it's like our, you know, it's like I said, we've kind of kept who we are throughout our whole evolution. And that's like kind of a white fire alarm, but like on steroids, on cocaine.
All right, Steph, we're going to wrap up here our rapid fire round. First thing that comes to mind here, festival stage or sweaty club show?
Sweaty club show.
All right, song that always gets you hyped up before a show.
Bitch Better Have My Money, Rihanna.
Good one. Dream tour lineup. Three bands you'd love to hit the road with this summer.
Fever 333. Um, Unity, Texas. God, who else? Hailstorm.
Mm. You should be on that stage three at Louder Than Life. The female and rock stage they're doing this year. You should
Oh,
be on
really?
that stage. Yeah. I just reposted
God.
that. Yeah. Yeah. It's on Saturday of Louder Than Life this year. And finally,
Yeah.
one word that describes City of the Week in 2026.
One word. One word. Unapologetic.
Good one. She's staff from City of the Week. Follow them on social for some upcoming tour dates this year and also for more singles coming out. I Swear I Never Think About You is the latest one that is out now. And be sure to check out the great cover of War Pigs, too, from City of the Week, cityoftheweekofficial.com. Check out their merch, too. Steph, thanks for joining me here on the Metal Queens podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, follow, and share the Metal Queens podcast so you never miss another conversation with the incredible women shaping the future of rock and metal. I'm Steve Richards. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again next time.